I hope the people who I'm talking about and or have talked about this with me are not watching this video. How many of you are familiar with what a dichotomy is? It's a very, very fancy word for meaning two of something. It just means, oh, there are these two traits and they're different. I love them. I love them very, very, very much because they can be very elucidating. Specifically when somebody makes a dichotomy out of you and themselves. I've had this happen a couple of times, both myself doing it without even realizing it and other creators doing it with me. But we will make these comparisons between each other. We'll size each other up and say, oh, this is your niche and this is my niche. You're kind of the smart, quiet, cool type, and I'm kind of the loud, creative, smart type, right? Or, I think that you are very dark, and I think I'm very light. Or, I think you are very edgy, and I'm very say-so. I don't know if this happens between people, or if this just happens on the internet, but I've had this happen, I think at least 6 times since I've started creating a couple of years ago. And I really love them, because how better to see what somebody thinks of you than them to say what they think of themselves and how you contrast. Better yet, how good is it to do that and figure something about yourself. Ouch. Hit the table. Figure something about yourself that you didn't know before. I think humans very rarely take a self-inventory. I think I've been saying self-inventory quite frequently without really going into what that means, but to just continue, I think humans don't often look at themselves and sort of keep track of who and what they are. Yes, humans are incredibly fluid creatures. We do not stick in one place at a long time, and every 6 to 8 years, you're a completely different person very often, whether that change is very small and gradual, or whether that change is a great upheaval. But in both cases, you changed a lot. And we only ever notice that change if we log it. Otherwise, how could you tell? Your brain is very, very bad at holding multiple experiences at the same time. How could you possibly remember how you felt when you were a kid and how you are now without contextualizing it in your present world of view? There were things I simply just didn't understand when I was younger. That growing up has helped me sort of contextualize and rationalize these things. And we don't give ourselves a kind of grace for not understanding those things. We think of ourselves and people who are equally ignorant as stupid, when simply by virtue of how we were raised, what we experienced, there are very meaningfully valid ways to be ignorant, so long as eventually you get out of there. Worse yet, people who take who they are for granted, there are also people who are just lost, who maybe have just recently interacted with a great upheaval and don't know how to rationalize it themselves. They don't know who they are anymore. And this is a time for exploration. This is a time to play around. But dichotomies can help. Comparisons can help, so long as they're not value judgments, that they are traits, right? Chaotic is only a problem for some people, and it is greatly appreciated from other people. Funny and serious. Well, funny is good for content, but serious gets the job done, doesn't it? If you look between people you admire or people you enjoy, making comparisons and likelihoods of what you believe the two of you are, and differences without disparaging yourself or them for having that, can be a really good tool to take inventory of the kind of person you are now. Oh, I am very blunt. This person is very flowery. I think both of those traits can be seen as a negative in certain aspects, especially flowery, because I relate to that. And I think that the issue with being flowery is you don't get to the point. Often the experience around having flowery language or being a long yapper or a long talker is that we are more involved with the sound and the texture, the flavor of it, than the actual nutrition of the words, right? I don't know if you're a similar writer to me, but when I used to write a lot of stories in the past, I think I would dedicate at least 2 paragraphs to the way the person looked and how every physical aspect of them sort of informed their candor and who they were, and how you could tell the kind of person that they are based on just looking at them. When we're walking around, we look at each other and go, oh, that's a person. We might make assumptions, but they don't go nearly as deep as knowing who they are, and that's dangerous. Information is very, very important. It's very, very precious. No, maybe even start with me. Like, maybe some of you see things in me that you agree with, that you feel is internally consistent with who you are. And some of you see things that you just inexorably cannot match up with. I think one of the funniest comments that I somewhat agree with from my Twitch is that I tend to be a little milquetoast. I tend to not have hard stances or opinions because by virtue of creating in this space and what I want my creation to be, I tend to stray away from those. But people will go, oh, Aaron Burr. We've got an Aaron Burr out here. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to talk a little bit more about a lot of different things, but that could be a way that you differentiate yourself from me. We need more traits. And if your particular trait is that you are politically active, you are very loud about your causes, then that is a trait that is neutral in its very conception. But for you, it might be very, very positive and can be a differentiator between you and I. Or maybe you're... I'm trying to think of traits. I'm trying to think of traits of myself that aren't just inherently negative. Like, maybe you're just self-centered. Self-centered's actually good. No, now that I got that, I am not very self-centered in that all of my thoughts are always on other people and how they perceive me. If you're self-centered, not in the way of being selfish necessarily, but that you care about how you feel more than what other people care of you. There are people who I know are very enlightenedly self-centered, and I admire them because they can withstand way more than I can. Ding, 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 10 minutes.